At second base for Teoscar Hernandez. Just got enough. Another heater down and away. No balls and 2 strikes.
Now this is more like that Dodgers lineup you're going to see in just a couple of days. The only one missing, Max Muncy's still dealing with some issues, but this is their A squad out here today, the last game of the season.
In the air, deep out to right field. In the shadows on the track, Leo Rivas makes the catch for round number 3. Ohtani stranded. Today, a landmark day, the final regular season start for the future Hall of Famer Clayton Kershaw.
And Clayton making his 400. What a day for him, what he must be going through right now, making that last trip to the mound. 11-time All-Star, 3-time Cy Young Award winner. Wrapping it all up here at T-Mobile Park.
It has been truly one of the great careers in baseball history. Today's Verizon Reliable performance. 450 starts for Clayton Kershaw. And a career ERA barely over 2.5. One of the great left-handers of all time. Over 3,000 strikeouts, a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer, the face of a franchise for so many years, Clayton Kershaw, who had his send-off just recently inside Dodger Stadium, his final home start, and today starting his final regular season game of his incredible Hall of Fame career.
You see that 2.5 ERA, 10 years of a sub-3 ERA in a row, 12 total of the 18 years under a 3 ERA. He had sub-2 for a handful of years as well, but man, what a career this has been for Clayton Kershaw.
The Mariners lineup that Kershaw will face. Cal Raleigh will bat second once again, DHing, chasing home run number 61. It will match him with Roger Maris for the second most in American League history. Gino, a home run shy of number 50. He would become just the second third baseman in baseball history with a 50-homer season. Kershaw's final, first pitch. He has the second most strikeouts. Big unit does all time, trailing only Nolan Ryan. The 0-2. Foul ball as Randy was able to get a piece of that curveball that we were just talking about, but can't quite keep it straight enough. Kershaw winning the Cy Young and the MVP back in 2014. That year, Kershaw posted a 1.77 ERA. The 1-2. Pops this up. And Mookie Betts right on top of second makes the catch. That brings up Cal Raleigh. Well, if you couldn't add any more depth to this storyline for Cal Raleigh, If he gets number 61 here, it would come off of one of the all-time greats. Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah.
Kershaw's pitch to Raleigh. Popped him up. Freeman. 2 outs.
I started his career in 2008, back when there was, back in my day, where there's no pitch com. See the Dodgers catcher right now flicking those fingers down. It's weird to see that now. Obviously with the pitch com, you just don't see it anymore, but seeing the catcher firing down a 1-2. That was a curveball.
Haven't seen this forever, it feels like. Can't think of a guy who doesn't use PitchCom anymore. 1-1. Well, they always say getting to the big leagues is the easy part. Sticking around is the hard part. And for Kershaw, this is his 18th major league season. One-two coming.
Yeah, I mean, this season, just back to that pitch com, he only uses it with a runner on second. He just said he's just so used to it. I mean, again, he started his career in 2008. He's so used to seeing that sign and just getting that little mental trigger and then making that pitch.
Gino, a home run shy of number 50. That brushes him back. Well, we do not expect a full workload today, certainly for Clayton Kershaw, but we are expecting him to get his time in the Seattle sunshine today and lead to a ovation at some point. Gino into right field, not especially deep. Teoscar is there, and Kershaw retires his side in order. Today's copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Seattle Mariners and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Seattle Mariners. A scoreless first. Local product, Michael Conforto leads things off in the second for the Dodgers. And fouls back a high fastball for strike one. Dodgers winning the first 2 games of this series. Well, the Mariners lost in game 1. It was the first time in exactly a month they had lost a game at home. Two balls and a strike. Dodgers are locked into the wild card round. They will be hosting a little bit of a different vibe around the Dodgers, where of course they did win the division, which is a pretty annual occurrence at this point. We all know that. They won before this series began their 12th title in 13 years, winning the division, including each of the last 4. But despite winning the West, they will be in the wild card round. Conforto draws a walk. So it is a little jumbled right now in the American League. The Central winner versus the wild card number 3 matchup. So if the Guardians and the Tigers win today, the Guards would host the Red Sox in the wild card round. Tigers at Toronto or New York, trying to figure out who's going to play in the wild card out of the East and who will win the American League East. And it really is amazing. You play so many of these games, and yet here we are with so many teams dead even. So the Guardians versus the Tigers in the wild card. Home field would be to be determined yet. Now the Mariners would host the winner of the Central versus the wild card number 3. Pages out into the sunshine, and Randy is there to make the catch. So those games currently, of course, underway, as we were talking about. Guardians are leading 2-0 early. They hold the tiebreaker over the Tigers. So the Tigers, to win the division, they need to win, and they need a Guardians loss. Red Sox are leading early over Detroit at Fenway 1-0. There was Kike Hernandez. A.J. Hinch, the Tiger skipper, who's been through the postseason plenty of times, longtime Astros manager, not using Tarek Skubal today, but instead saving him for game 1 of the postseason. Chris Paddock getting the start for the Tigers instead. So he was prioritizing having his ace ready for game 1 as opposed to prioritizing a chance to win the division, because even if they win today, they need help. They need the Guardians to lose against a down and out, nothing to play for Rangers team.
Yeah, it makes sense. Plus, you got your number 1 starter, Tarek Skubal. It doesn't matter who he faces. He's going to be dominant, that's for sure, especially in a 3-game series like that. Game 1 is so crucial.
JP makes the catch. And when the Mariners went to Detroit to end the first half, the Tigers were banging on all cylinders. They were the best team in baseball. The Mariners swept the Tigers in 3. Julio homered in all 3 games. Kind of began his ascension as well. And the Tigers have been struggling, 28-39 since the beginning of that 3-game series against the Mariners in roughly mid-July. Ha-Seong Kim at second base today for the Dodgers, takes high for ball 1.
I'm curious to see how Bryce Miller looks today. Remember, we talked about this last inning, the fact that probably won't get a playoff start, or especially in that first round. The Mariners, whoever they take on, being a 5-game series, there could be one of those pieces that goes into the bullpen. A little bit different mentality.
Kim really leans into this one deep to right field, and this is into the seats. Ha-Seong Kim. This is his 3rd home run this year. 2-run shot with 2 outs. Dodgers take the early lead.
Well, that's one thing with Bryce Miller since coming back from the IL. Has looked better at times, but just trying to avoid that big inning. And the long ball. This is a pitch, middle of the plate. Fastball trying to get to the top of the strike zone. Kim just jumps all over it. I think if you're Bryce Miller, you're in two minds. You want to finish this year strong on a good note, have that solid start. But at the same time, you still think about the ALDS. If you are going to be in the bullpen, maybe you take a little bit more of that mentality. We talked about that with Emerson Hancock a couple nights ago, where it's more of that empty the tank.
You practice that a little bit today, is that what you're saying?
But really, there's no change. It's going to be similar to what we saw with Logan Gilbert and George Kirby the last couple of nights. Probably around 5 innings, 70 to 80 pitches.
Mastroboni has it at first base to retire the side. Kim, a 2-run home run. Kershaw coming back out for the bottom of the second. Day in the American League East. Alejandro Kirk just moments ago, a grand slam to put the Blue Jays in front of the Rays 5-1 from Rogers Center, just underway, bottom of the first inning. Blue Jays and Yankees are dead even, 93 and 68. The Yankees leading early 1-0 over the Orioles. Blue Jays hold the tiebreaker over the Yankees, so they do control their destiny today. If they win, they clinch the #1 seed and win the American League East. And because of that, Kevin Gausman is up on the mound for Toronto.
Yeah, you got that bye at stake where you get to skip the wild card series.
Garver leads things off for the Mariners, 2 balls and a strike.
The Blue Jays are in good shape, up 5-1. I mean, it's a bit of a roll of the dice too. Gausman has been so good. You lose him today if, in fact, you do slip back into that wild card series. In good shape right now, up 5-1.
Yeah, so for that to happen, they would need to lose and have the Yankees win. Certainly possible.
Right.
The 2-2. Swing and a miss. Kershaw adds another strikeout to his lengthy resume. There is out #1. So the Mariners will be off until Saturday. They will be hosting some Mariners postseason scrimmages. That's right. They're trying to stay as dialed in as possible. So Wednesday, October 1st at 2. Thursday, the 2nd at 5. Mariners.com/October. Luke Raley with a towering fly ball. Where is this one going to end up landing? Strike 1.
That's a really cool opportunity, though. Those scrimmage games, get out here. Support your team, make some noise, make it as game-like as possible.
So on the scrimmages, this is kind of a twofold thing. One, very cool to be able to come in here and watch the Mariners in a pretty casual setting. And you can see probably some really fun matchups, like maybe Logan Gilbert's going to pitch to Cal Raleigh, right?
Right.
Like how often does Cal get to face one of these guys? But then the other thing, too, that does need to be underscored, the Mariners need people here. The whole point of these scrimmages is to try to replicate as close to a game-like scenario. They're going to have the music on. Mariner Vision will be on as Kershaw strikes out his second in a row. And they need as much of a vibe in the ballpark. So your attendance here is something that they are really hoping to get. 2 outs. Here comes JP. Well, that's one that JP can call home about, even a guy at this stage in his career. Based it off of Clayton Kershaw in his final start. Pretty cool.
And again, a few more reps of that. We talked about those inner squads, but JP Crawford left on left. A little hanging slider from Clayton Kershaw. He does what he does. Slaps that ball into left field. I think the other thing, too, with those scrimmages, Goldie, is just, kind of getting that really cool, intense workout / behind the scenes look at this team. It's kind of like that appetizer before you get into, the ALDS back in the playoffs. It's been a couple of years, so man, what a cool experience. And you get down at spring training, nowhere near the same intensity, especially the time of year too, as you're just days away from watching your team battle it out in the ALDS. That's going to be a crucial time for this team. Try and generate any kind of momentum, as tough as that is in those days.
Yeah, no doubt. 2 balls and a strike with 2 outs to Leo Rivas. Good take, 3-1. A little gray in the beard here for Kershaw these days. There's 3-1 coming. Foul. And if you went back and you talked to Leo Rivas a couple of years ago before he had made it to the majors, a guy who'd been in the minors at that point for what, 7-8 years, and you said, hey, there's going to be a day where you're going to face off against Clayton Kershaw under the Seattle sunshine against the Dodgers. It's going to be a dream come true.
Yeah, absolutely.
Towards center field, Pajes makes the catch. Crawford stranded, 2 complete. His Old Spice Fresh stats, pretty cool this year. 7 players with 30 homers and 30 bags. That's the most ever in single-season Major League history. And Julio just becoming the 7th player. Second time in his career he has gone 30-30. How about 50-50? Guy at the plate right now. A couple of years ago. Just last year. So Julio, the latest. Here is the complete list. Pete Crow Armstrong of the Cubs just joined the 30-30 club a couple of days ago as well. Seattle's own Corbin Carroll on there. I don't think anybody had Juan Soto on the 30-30 club, right? You don't think of Soto swiping 30 bags.
Yeah, he got that big uptick in swiping bags where he's kind of jumping off that base. We saw that back in New York too, where a couple of the Mets was doing that 1-step, 2-step, and then just taking off, and then Juan Soto all of a sudden caught onto it and started swiping bags.
Soto is leading the National League with 38 stolen bases. Before this year, he had a total of 57 in his career. Here comes the 2-1. To Ohtani. You know, for Soto, there was all that talk in New York about how after his slow start to the year, after signing that mega contract, that he missed having Aaron Judge behind him, that he wouldn't be the same hitter, and here he is. He is on basing close to 400. Same old, and in some ways even better.
And another guy on that list too, Corbin Carroll. Hit 30 plus. His career high before that was 30 home.
Are you counting them up?
25 home runs. You just don't think of him as being that home run hitter, 30 plus home run hitter. He's only 5'10". He's known for his speed.
Second hit today for Ohtani, singles to right. This is what the wild card looks like in the National League. The Reds and the Mets are deadlocked, 83 and 78. The Reds are leading 1-0 in Milwaukee. They hold the tiebreaker over Juan Soto's Mets, who are in a scoreless tie in Miami. I mean, think about that enormous payroll for the Mets. Now, they've been really injured this year. They've had a lot of players banged up, but nonetheless, this is not the position they were expecting to be in. Game 162. The Dodgers will host either the Mets or the Reds. Betts takes outside for ball 1.
And you look at this too. The month of September, the Detroit Tigers and the Mets are up there in the most amount of losses in the month of September. Two teams that essentially, were supposed to be playoff bound, especially going back a couple months ago. It has been a tough stretch to finish off their seasons.
Julio the day off today. Raley makes the catch in his place in center field. Mookie Betts retired.
The Detroit Tigers are 7-16 in the month of September. The Mets are 10-14. I mean, and you're up there with teams like the Angels are up there, the Rockies are up there with them. Obviously, nowhere near the playoffs. Talk about momentum going into the playoffs. Man, more like limping into the playoffs, trying to figure out how you get through that first round. You said this the other day, Gold, is such a great point. The minute you flip it over to that postseason, you can throw anything from the regular season pretty much out the door. It all changes.
Well, it is a brand new season. Freeman fouls it back. Clubbed high the opposite way. Rosarena watching as this one goes over the wall for a home run. Freddie Freeman goes the opposite way. 4-0 Dodgers.
There's been a lot of loud contact against Bryce Miller here early. Which could affect where he stands in regards to this playoff roster coming up. That's a split. Again, we saw Ohtani hit a split into right field that first at bat. This one's kind of hanging out in the strike zone. Freddie Freeman, home number 24 on the year.
So a pair of 2-run home runs today for the Dodgers. Teoscar Hernandez, the batter. It's off the mound. A little redirection there. Comes to Crawford, who throws it on a skip intentionally, not in time. Infield base hit for Teoscar Hernandez.
This is a tough play for J.P. Crawford. First of all, you got to cover a ton of ground getting over the middle of the infield. Then you also got to turn your body a little bit too. Get enough on that throw. You mentioned the bounce, but Teo just getting too quick down the line.
One out, one on. Michael Conforto walked earlier. We talked about Bryce Miller's possibility of joining the bullpen for the divisional round. And he was a reliever at certain points in his college career. Eventually became a starter at Texas A&M, drafted by the Mariners, and the rest is history. So maybe not something he's done all that recently, but it is something that he has done before.
I just think there's so many decisions they're still going to make in regards to how they're going to line up this rotation in this 5-game series. I mean, you think about this too. Brian Wu, everyone's talking about him coming back, being healthy, but man, he wouldn't have seen game action for 2+ weeks once they get to that point. And you get a couple bullpen sessions in there, but you got to ask yourself, you know, with Brian Wu, as good as he's been all year, I get it. But you've sat out in a couple weeks coming back from that, you know, pec injury. How much do you trust him going to game 1 or game 2, just having a layoff? You brought up a good point the other day, talking about who you're more comfortable pitching on the road as opposed to home. That game 3.
Yeah, so the divisional round of 5-game series. First 2 games will be played here. Next 2 on the road. If game 5 is necessary, it will be back at T-Mobile Park. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Conforto. Count pushes full. Pages on deck.
Seen a lot of that from Bryce Miller. Fastballs down the middle, 94s, 95s. A lot of foul balls. It's one of those games that's, like you said, lacking that atmosphere because both teams know where they're going to go. It's a big day for Bryce Miller. For a couple reasons. Number one, finish the year strong, but more importantly, number two, we're going to call it an audition, but just kind of show that there's a, you know, you can be an asset in that bullpen. Probably not going to get that game, one of those starts in a 5-game series. You go 2 games, day off, and then 2 right after that.
Three-two. This is inside, so a long at bat, 9-pitch walk for Conforto.
Three bold pizzas, each just $9.99. Start with 2 kinds of pepperoni. Then choose Mike's Hot Honey or Mike's Extra Hot Honey for a heat-seeking kit. Only at Papa Murphy's.
Pete Woodworth out to the mound, a quick word.
And we saw a little bit of this at the beginning of the season when he was battling that elbow injury. Second guessing some of his pitches, but just a ton of contact, a lot of pitches in the middle of the plate.
What the big question around Bryce Miller will be this offseason is what's the move with the elbow going forward, right? There was clearly something going on. There's some inflammation, a bone spur causing that inflammation. Swinging a miss to Pajes. He was able to get some treatment for that and come back off the injured list. He was on the IL twice, and the second time over 2 months. But it does seem like, is this something that will need further attention this offseason, or is this something that, with the proper care, can avoid some type of procedure this winter?
Well, he said, too, at the end of 2024, when he had that, obviously, a really good year last year, sub-3 ERA, but he said the handful of starts at the end of the year, he was feeling something in his elbow. Kind of thought, well, you know what, the off-season's coming up. Went into spring training, didn't really go away. He was trying to fight through it in the month of April. Yes, that's a good question. Obviously, the last thing you want is to have anything major, any major procedure done to it. But, man, if you want to be able to get through a 6-month season, everything's got to be dialed in.
The 1-2. Swing and a miss, chasing off the plate. 2 outs.
A little bit better velocity, better finish on the pitch right there. Maybe that's something Pete Woodworth talked to him about. Just get down the mound, be aggressive, have that conviction.
Two outs and 2 on for Hernandez, who's had a strong series. And to be clear on Bryce, if Tommy John is what we label as major surgery, whatever Bryce might need would not be major, right? This would be nothing to the level of Tommy John at all. I want to make that very clear. But the question becomes, if you're Bryce, is this something that you want to not risk having flare up again next year in the middle of the season?
For sure.
And if so, is some type of procedure necessary this winter that would get you on track to begin opening day? So there's some things to consider there if you're Bryce. The bottom of the third, Dodgers have the lead. the end of the last half inning we just saw. So Gino, there's the ball. The umpire just rolls the ball out. You can see it in front of the mound. And whoop. Gino picks the ball up, throws it to JP. Kershaw comes out and says, hey, Blue, where's the ball? I said, I'm still pitching. I said, yeah, that guy over there, he took it.
Genie, you're better than that.
He's having fun with Clayton Kershaw. Now, Gino saw plenty of the Dodgers during his time in the National League West with the Diamondbacks after being traded over there. I mean, I guess you can't get mad at Gino. Well, the ground is second base, so these are the guys with the most, unfortunately, plate appearances against Kershaw. Buster Posey, who's now running the Giants at the top of that list. 2026 Mariners season ticket memberships are on sale now. Come on aboard with a reserved or flex plan and unlock priority pre-sale access to potential ALCS and World Series games at T-Mobile Park. You can start your membership today at mariners.com/26. Here's Master Boney. When I think about Clayton Kershaw, we've shown all the numbers and we've waxed about his incredible career.
Yeah.
And it's one of the great pitching careers this game has ever seen. And one thing that I think is so important, especially for young players, we're both dads, we both have young kids who are playing baseball, and failure is so hard, right? It's so hard for kids in any sport, and baseball is no exception. And I'm always struck by the fact that even the all-time greats, and we're looking at one right here, even he has been stung by some real heartbreak in the postseason. He has had some very difficult moments in October. And for all players, whether you're playing 10U travel ball or whether you're the face of the Dodgers franchise like Clayton Kershaw, man, this is a game of failure, and it's a matter of how you deal with it and move on.
For sure. And, some of the setbacks, too, was always his lower back early on in his career, which was always flaring up and giving him some issues. But first of all, you mentioned the postseason. There was a run there against the Cardinals in, 2013, 2014. He had the one game where he went, he pitched into the seventh, but gave up the 8 earned runs. It was a real struggle.
Towards the line in left field, and Conforto. He said, hey, man, it's mine now. Some kind of Dodgers fan you are, he says.
Out of his way. This is tough because those seats are kind of sticking out on you.
Oh, it's not his. Yeah, he didn't do anything wrong.
Actually, no.
He's trying to.
Mariners fan right behind you, getting in the way. Get that.
Yeah, team guy right there.
Yeah.
And Dodgers guy did nothing wrong.
But then he came straight back the very next postseason start in 2014. He faces the Cardinals again. And they get him again.
That's Triboni, play at second. It skips away, and he's safe. Hustle double Miles Mastrobuoni off Clayton Kershaw.
Well, welcome back. Coming back, the last game of the season. Potentially getting a chance to make it onto a playoff roster. Obviously, a lot of decisions to be made, but this is what he brings. You mentioned that hustle double. Hits his ball into left field. Down the line.
When Miles Mastrobuoni is sitting around a fireplace as a grandfather telling his young grandkids about the day that he doubled off of Clayton Kershaw, he'll tell them it hit off the base of the wall.
Yeah, in his final start, I smashed the double off the wall. Clayton Kershaw turned around, tipped his cap.
And I easily stood up at second base.
And the crowd went absolutely bananas. Yeah, but you mentioned some of the postseason back and forth results for Clayton Kershaw. And the other thing, too, I never forget, I was with the D-backs in my last year in the big leagues, is 2014. He was dealing with an injury, and we shared the same weight room. And I watched him. I could see across the other side of the field. He's throwing the bullpen. He's wanting to come back. This is like he'd started the year, and then all of a sudden he hit the IL at one point. And I remember he was talking to A.J. Ellis, his longtime battery mate, in the weight room, and he was just blowing up, losing it. And so I slid over there to eavesdrop on the conversation. He was so upset they weren't going to take him off the IL they said, oh, hey, look, we need you to do just one more rehab start. Because he's, and this is not in front of anyone. This is just private with his buddy.
Until now, but yeah, continue.
But, yeah, exactly. But just hearing that and just hearing how passionate he was to get back, as opposed to, look, a lot of guys like that, but there are a lot of guys out there saying, oh, yeah, hey, I'll take the next start. We're talking late April, this was. And so listen to that and just watching how fired up he was about not having a chance to get back and pitch. It just sticks with you. Little moments like that when you see it behind the scenes. I do have another story too. I'll never forget. This is when he was first breaking in. I think it was probably after his rookie year where he was kind of
just foul.
Yeah, the numbers weren't great. I think he had a 4 ERA. We're in spring training. I remember I went to Glendale. I was pitching against him. I'd never really paid attention to him pitching. He was a big prospect. Thinking back then, it wasn't thinking 18 years worth of Clayton Kershaw. And I walked in the dugout. I said to one of our coaches, I was like, oh man, this kid's a stud. I can't wait to watch him pitch. Mind you, I was pitching on the other side, but that's okay. And they're like, oh, hey, look, this kid can't throw strikes. Good arm, but he sprays all over the place. I don't know if he's going to be able to hang at this level. 18 years later, here he is.
Another foul ball from Randy. Long at bat here. At least a 9-pitch at bat for Rosarena. Mastroboni at second. Cal do up next. Ground ball over to second base. Mastroboni into third. 2 outs. Everybody perks up a little bit now. Here comes Cal Raleigh. Final day to try to get to 61, and who knows, maybe even 62. Don't see too many swings like that from Cal. Strike one. Well, there's that famous Kershaw curveball. 1 ball and 1 strike. Can he get to 61 today? Kershaw's 1-1.
See if he overthrows a fastball right here. Tries to challenge Cal. Leave something out over the plate. Get that slider.
Gets into a good count. That's all right. Everybody here would rather see Cal in the box than at first base right now. Will number 61 come off of a future Hall of Famer? Kershaw's 3-2. Inside. Walks him.
Well, we talked about this game not meaning a whole lot, but man, Clayton Kershaw acted in that at bat like it meant everything. Wasn't giving him 3-1 slider, got back in the count, little back door. Tried to bust him in with that hitter.
That puts 2 on with 2 out for Gino. At the bottom of the zone, 0-2. Takes care of him on 3 pitches. Breaking ball puts Gino away, and the Mariners leave him on the corners. Today's T-Mobile coverage cam. Now live look, rising high above T-Mobile Park. Beautiful fall day here in the Pacific Northwest. Ha-Seong Kim, who homered earlier, leads things off for the Dodgers. Dodgers have made Miller work the last couple of innings in particular. 2-run home run for the Dodgers each of the last 2 frames. This is on the ground, and a nice play there by Cole Young. Along the lines of the postseason, today's KeyBank key stats. Lead playoff teams' home runs. We know how important the home run ball is come October. Nobody more than the Yankees, but the Mariners the second most out of all American League teams. Tigers knocking on the door of 200. Of course, the Guardians, they do not hit it over the fence very often. Last night, the Guards won on a walk-off, bases loaded, hit by pitch. Rortvedt is the batter, number 9 hitting catcher. Circles around this one. 2 outs.
Bryce getting some outs quickly, but this would be it for him. I think after this 4th inning, there's too many pitches in that 2nd and 3rd.
Here comes Ohtani for the 3rd time. A double and a single. Gearing up for that fastball, fouls it straight back. 0-1. Ohtani last year hit 54 home runs. That was a single season Dodger record, sitting on 54 again this year. Locates that well, 0-2.
I've seen more of that from Bryce since that mound visit. 95s, 96s. A little more conviction at the top of the strike zone. Maybe Woody just said, listen, just empty the tank. Just get through that pitch.
That looks good. Bryce Miller. Good morning, good afternoon, good night to Shohei Ohtani on 3 straight heaters. Bottom of the 4th. Mitch Garver, Luke Raley, and then J.P. Crawford. Picture the Rangers have taken the lead. They're up by a run at the bottom of the 3rd against the Guardians at Progressive Field. Meanwhile, they are now tied at Fenway. Red Sox and Tigers even Steven in the bottom of the 4th inning. What a day to be scoreboard watching. Kershaw 60 pitches. Garver leads it off. Did it feel different when you were pitching against a guy who you knew would be a surefire Hall of Famer, like one of the greats of an era? Did it feel different when you pitched against those guys?
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome. It was, yeah, it was always cool to look up, on the lineup card and see the 2 names next to each other, and your name's right next to someone like Kershaw. I remember.
Base hit by Garver to begin the bottom of the 4th inning.
Yeah, one that stood out for me was someone who I really looked up to, and my rookie year, I actually went up to him before a game and said, "Hey, listen, man, I'm a huge fan." Like, I was watching him work out Roy Halladay. I mean, I really looked up to him. I had a chance to pitch here against him. It was 2009, and yeah, that was in his heyday, just dominate and just get deep into games and everything else. But yeah, it was such a memorable afternoon. But there was a couple of Andy Pettit having a chance to pitch against him. That was huge. Someone else I looked up to. it was really cool having that opportunity.
Pretty special day here to see Clayton Kershaw in his final start of his career.
He looks sharp too, pumping a few 91s. His average velocity this year is 89. It wasn't like he was ever a guy who was like 98 to 100. You know, best average fastballs around 94s, 95s. A natural decline to it.
It is a luxury in this game when you know when your last day will be.
Yeah, for sure. Go out on your terms, and that's exactly what he's doing. He said, I'm calling it about a week ago in the press conference. He's got his family here one last time. But, man, he's pitched through some errors, though, when you think about it, right? So 2008, that was around that time where we talked about getting deep into the games. 200 innings was kind of the milestone you always shot for. I know guys still talk about getting 200 innings, but much tougher to do in these days.
Anthony's strike 3 call. 1 out.
Yeah, and that was an era, too, where pitching inside was huge. Now, obviously, pitching at the top of the strike zone is more of a big deal. And then you went into that, that pitch design era where spin rate, got involved. All of a sudden, you could quantify the spin on the fastball. Every fastball was starting to get different as opposed to straight velocity. And now this last era where it's just velocity obsessed. Everyone's throwing 100 miles an hour. And he's had success in each one of those eras as well. It's not like a situation where he was so dominant, just kind of limping to the finish line. He's had success in all of them. Amazing career.
That curveball locks up JP. 0-2.
Even that pitch right there, that slower curveball, it's always been around 74, 75. That 12-6, big breaking ball. And now when guys develop, they want to develop a higher spinning and more velocity breaking balls.
Yeah, we don't see curveballs like that.
No, you don't. Not anymore. It's just because guys just, I'm not going to call them kids, but in the minor leagues, college baseball, high school even, going as deep as that. It's just a different way to develop how you spin a breaking ball.
Picked by Freeman. Betts at second. No throw to first base. 2 outs. Visit the Mariners team store right here at T-Mobile Park and downtown Seattle to grab your postseason and American League West champs gear. Merch has been selling out quick, so be sure to follow the team stores on Instagram and on X for all the latest updates. The thing you hear about the big 12-6 curve is that it's more recognizable out of the hand, right? It's got the hump to it.
Yeah.
But so why does it work for Kershaw?
Well, I think that, a couple things. First of all, there's that deception aspect. And now, again, you can even quantify a little bit more on the, with arm angles and everything else, right? It used to be a situation where, look, pitch down in the strike zone, more movement on a breaking ball's better. Now it's how hard can you throw that breaking ball? How fast can you spin it?
Straight away left field. Atom ball off the bat of Rivas. And a man left. 4 in the books. Dodgers have the lead. over and wear your seatbelt. We all play a role in keeping our roads safe. Beacon Plumbing call to the pen. Caleb Ferguson is on to take over for Bryce Miller in the 5th inning.
Now, Bryce just getting the 4 innings. That pitch count tallied up in that 2nd and 3rd, but Caleb's now going to get a chance to get that one last session in front of in-game session before they hit that break.
Facing Mookie Betts. And we were talking about this the other day. Betts, such an accomplished right fielder, has had a remarkable career. The former MVP in the American League with the Red Sox back in 2018. He has won 6 Gold Gloves as a right fielder. He has since transitioned in recent years back to the infield, a position he came up playing middle infield with the Red Sox as one of their top prospects many years ago at this point. It's a pretty short list. In fact, it's an incredibly short list of players who have won a Gold Glove at multiple positions. This finds Rayleigh in center field. There is out number 1. Today's Northwest Chevy Silverado drive of the game. A couple of 2-run home runs. First, it was Hesong Kim in the 2nd inning. And then Freddie Freeman going deep. 2-run blast in the 3rd. That's been the offense today for the Dodgers. It's Freddie Freeman to bat here. 1 out, nobody on. Well, Dalton Rushing. That didn't look like Freddie. So Rushing, who we have seen the last 2 days, he'll take over. And that number 3 spot. All right, so the players to have ever won a Gold Glove at multiple positions, Placido Polanco, he won a Gold Glove both at second base and at third base. I think this counts, but I'll let you be the judge of this. DJ LeMahieu won a Gold Glove at second base and as the utility Gold Glove. What do you think? That was you weren't feeling that quite as much.
Yeah, I mean, even too, you talk about Mookie going from outfield into the infield. Oh, but by the way, coming up as an infielder, natural infielder coming up as a prospect, but I think that's a much harder transition. Not taking anything away from Polanco, obviously second base to third base, but the utility, I mean, still counts, right?
It's not. Well, to be fair, Mookie has not won a Gold Glove as an infielder, right? So let's not confuse that. This is more of a if he ever did kind of conversation. Yeah. So LeMahieu, second baseman and utility. The one that's really incredible, and this is a fun trivia question, there's only been one player to ever win a Gold Glove on the infield and in the outfield. Darren Erstad won it at first base and as an outfielder. It's the only player in the history of the Gold Glove to win it both in the infield and the outfield. So maybe Mookie one day can join that short list of guys who've won it in multiple positions.
Yeah, it was a struggle last year. We talked about that. What are the throwing errors? Some of the numbers for Mookie too. He had 39 home runs in 23. 20 last year. He had that stomach virus early in the season, lost 20 pounds. He's got the lowest ever OPS and WRC plus this year. Second half, much better than that first half. That first half was a struggle for him. It's tough when you lose all that weight. Lose that power, that bat speed.
Oh, and 2 on Teoscar Hernandez. Popped up. More like a shallow fly ball now. And the catch made by Rivas. Ferguson retires the side in order. role in the postseason for the Mariners. Gabe Speier at home this year has been flat out dominant. A 1.38, 52 strikeouts to 2 walks. What? I mean, that's
amazing.
Crazy.
Really good. You see that opponent batting average to 150, just under 150. A lot of that to the lefties, but something good to the righties.
I mean, 52 strikeouts to 2 walks. That's, you know, this is a very niche thing, I understand, but that's like historic stuff right there.
Yeah, it's legit.
That is not done. Rookie Cole Young facing Kershaw here in the bottom of the 5th inning.
I still think with looking at this bullpen, and I keep looking ahead towards that ALD. I just can't help myself with looking at the rotation and how they're going to match everything up.
Cole Young, you got a knockoff of Clayton Kershaw.
You see Clayton with a smirk right there, but everything going to the left field. We saw Miles Mastrobuoni do it, J.P. Crawford, Cole Young, and there's left on lefts. Slapping that ball down that left field line.
I mean, if I'm Cole Young, I'm saying, hey, can I get that ball?
Yeah.
I can understand if that might be frowned upon as a guy with less than a year of service time, but I mean, don't you kind of want to hold on to that one?
Get Clayton to sign it for you.
Strike to Mastrobuoni.
Just back to that bullpen conversation, how they're going to, bridge the gap to get to Munoz. I would still like to see, and I'm not basing this just off that at-bat against Christian Walker, but okay, see Gabe Speier get that full inning, maybe that 7th, 8th, righties or lefties, doesn't matter.
Well, they definitely trust him against right-handers, and he's put up the numbers to earn that trust. There's the curveball, 1-2. Rushing is taken over at first. Bat's return throw to first is not in time.
You see Clayton doubling up on that curveball. Big reason why Mastrobuoni was trying to hit everything to left field that last at bat, so that slower breaking ball, trying to catch him out front and to roll over just like that.
Here's Randy. To the backstop. Throw is not close. Did that hit somebody?
Yeah, I think that hit off Kershaw. Throw. He sounded more good. Let's get another look at it. He sprays that ball. You can see Kershaw trying to get out of the way.
Ooh, off the nameplate, man.
Come on, man. A couple more innings till it's all said and done. Don't give me a bruise.
Ooh.
Like, I'm good. I want to get through this 5th inning and maybe further.
Curveball misses high. 2-1. Three balls and a strike to Arozarena. On deck, Cal Raleigh. Full count to Randy. Mastroboni, a good runner at second base. One out. And chasing way up out of the strike zone. Rosarena strikes out. That brings up Cal.
Yeah, well, the Dodgers might have to reconsider their wild card rotation. Clayton Kershaw's absolutely dealing right now. 4 hits, 5 strikeouts.
Just above the knees, strike one. Final day for Cal Raleigh to get to 61. Staying to the bottom of the zone, 0-2.
Well, he's going after him even with that open base.
Kershaw on an 0-2. And he got the curveball. Kershaw strikes him out and strands a man at second. 5 scoreless in the books for Clayton Kershaw. You can catch the biggest action on the biggest screen in Seattle for Game 3 on October 7th and Game 4 October 8th if necessary. Go to Mariners.com/October to get your tickets. Ball inside to Conforto leading things off in the 6th inning. Ferguson back out there. Missing outside 3-0. Spoils it foul. Still 3 balls, 2 strikes to Conforto. Broken bat, watch out. Ferguson, the ball skips off him. He's able to catch it in the breadbasket and flip to first base. A lot going on there for Caleb Ferguson.
I've seen a couple of these last couple of days where that head of that bat just goes flying. Oh, watch out. Oh. Kick save. Nice. Against his former team. Watch out for that bat. Wow.
You talk about a friendly bounce. One out. You know, we've talked about all the 30-30 seasons in baseball this year. Earlier this season, Pete Crow Armstrong became the first player in baseball with a 2020 season. June 19th, that was the start of the Mariners series at Wrigley. At that point, double the home runs of Julio. PCA was just setting the baseball world on fire. He was a human highlight reel. 23 bags compared to Julio's 12. He was batting about 50 points higher. The WRC Plus almost 30 points higher. It looked like he was on his way to becoming the National League MVP about midway through the month of June. And the point of this is not to illustrate so much the fade of PCA, who was one of the really electrifying players in the game, but to show that this is a marathon. This is 162 games.
Yeah.
What has transpired since the beginning of the series at Wrigley? Julio, double the homers, more stolen bases, the batting average night and day. The WRC Plus, remember, 100 is league average. Pete Crow Armstrong, 83. And Julio, his 141 has been, I don't know, top 20 in baseball since a little after the midway point in June. And we see this from Julio year in and year out, and it's always a topic of conversation, not just here in Seattle, but around baseball. What is going on with Julio in the first couple of months of the season? It has been kind of his thing, and it happened again this year. And again, the point here is to illustrate you can't judge it at the halfway mark on the marathon. You got to wait till they cross the tape. And as we are here in game 162, Julio is putting together a season where he will easily be a top 10 MVP finish and potentially somewhere around the top 5 based on the numbers he's put together. Another 30-30 season for Julio.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing too. I mean, and just the first and second half splits for Julio Rodriguez. I mean, you look at the slug, 160 points higher. The OPS, close to 200 points higher. You mentioned the WRC Plus. And obviously the contrast with Pete Crow Armstrong to go with it. But man, it's a huge second half for Julio Rodriguez.
Yeah, both electrifying players, and Julio has had a monster second half.